Hey everybody out there, my name is Kris Nicholson. Today I would like to talk about travel keyboards. Now these are basically just electronic keyboards that if you're going on a trip, if you're going to take it on an airplane, on a bus, any kind of automobile, even a long trip, you want to travel with a nice keyboard. So I'm going to start with basically what I first started with as a travel keyboard and then get into what I have now. Okay, so the reason I have a Yamaha PSR keyboard is because when I was traveling in the 90s, I actually traveled around with, like, say for instance, a PSR 500. I had PSR 48s, I should say. Also, something like a 630. So this right over here, this is the Yamaha PSR 450. And they're very good keyboards. They're great keyboards. The only thing about it is that they are very bulky. They sound great though. I mean, the sound of it. And the action is okay for, like, if a synthesizer player or a keyboard. They have lots and lots of sounds plus rhythms. The speakers kind of make it a little bit heavy, plus the disk drive takes up a lot of power just to use if you're going to use it with batteries. So I used to travel around with this. I still do if I'm playing, like, say for instance, for like kids parties. I still play something like this, and it's such a great keyboard. So now I'm going to show you what I used to travel with next. This keyboard right over here looks familiar. Well, I have the white version of it. This right over here, this is the Multimedia iRig Keys 37. And this is the miniature version of it. They also have a full-size version of it. You could get it in white and black. And I use this basically from my iPad. And now the iPad has just basically have become a lot more user-friendly for synthesizer players and keyboard players and also pianists just like me. And this came in handy. I took this on an airplane. It fit in my backpack really nicely. You have a pitch bend and modulation wheel, so that's what I love about it. And also you have an octave. You have you could select your programs on it, and it came in handy many times. So I took this on an airplane with me, and I thought they're gonna stop me like, oh, what are you doing with that? But no, it was perfect. It was perfect. But the only problem about it is that it's 37 keys. It's 37 mini keys. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. It served me well. So right now, this sits on top of my Williams piano, and it has the pitch bend and modulation, so I use it for that. And so right now it's being occupied for that. So now I'm going to show you what I used to travel with next. Now this beautiful keyboard right over here, I still play out with it, and I still use it for my projects. This right over here, this is the Korg microKEY Air 61. And I absolutely still love it till this very day. The reason of that is that even though it has many keys and it has 61 keys, it still has that semi-weighted feel, just like on a regular piano. Now there's two other keyboards that are not here in the Korg range that I basically traveled with. One of them is the Korg Micro Station, and the other one is the Korg Micro Arranger. Very good travel keyboards. One of them is basically a workstation, and the other one is an arranger workstation. And I had to get specially made cases for them. This I actually had to chop down a mini Stratocaster guitar case for it to actually fit into this. This actually has a pitch bend modulation. It has a sustain pedal. So if you get the microKEY Air, the first one, it doesn't have a sustain pedal hookup, and it doesn't have basically the Bluetooth on here. So I love it. I absolutely love it. Right now, this keyboard has been occupying my my Akai MPC Live. So this is the keyboard for my Akai MPC Live. I have it right next door of it, and I absolutely just use this a lot. So let's move on to the next keyboard. Now the next keyboard is not here. The reason of that is because I ordered a Rollup 88 key piano that was basically misleading, and I got so mad with the company that I actually just gave the keyboard away. Okay, so it was called Piango, and it was an 88 key Rollup keyboard. It was not touch sensitive. It misleaded of sound. I did a whole review on it, and somebody wrote that Piango actually means I'm crying in Italian. I was like, okay, so why do I want a keyboard that says I'm crying? When I took it out the box, I was definitely crying because I paid $250 for it, and it did not have any touch sensitive. It sounded like, I cannot say. You guys put in the expletive if you want, but it was terrible. It was really, really bad. So I tried everything to make it sound good, to make it feel good. It came with the sustain pedal that was very clicky clacky. So when you stepped on it, it went kick cat, kick cat, kick cat, and it was bad. So I had to doctor up the sustain pedal. The first day I got it, I actually had to take the sustain pedal apart and doctor it up with one of these regular sustain pedals and switch to polarity and to make it work. How bad is that? That was really, really bad. So it's not here. I don't have it here. I gave it away. I forgot who I gave it away to, but it's gone. Now this keyboard I still love. I will always love. They did such a great job with this keyboard. So let me take it out the bag. As you can see, this is what it looks like right here. It looks kind of like a flute case, but it's actually an 88 key keyboard right inside of it. So I had to make this little contraption, and I'll explain later about that. And also I had to take this with me. These are stuff you could get at the dollar store that, you know, once you put on a countertop, it won't slip and slide, which is pretty cool. So this is the V-top folding keyboard. And I mean, I still love it. I can't believe the engineering work that it took to actually design this keyboard. And here's the case. And before I unwrap the keyboard, I'm going to show you what else did I take with it. Here is the sustain pedal. This is actually the sustain pedal for the new keyboard, but I switched it. And also, a little bit of garbage there. This right over here, this is an auxiliary jack. And this is the charger right over here. So let me move the case out the way. And this right over here is the V-top keyboard that actually folds in half, which is pretty cool. Let me do it the other way. And you won't believe it, just like this, it fits underneath the seat of an airplane, basically underneath your seat of the airplane. So it folds out like that, and it's 88 keys, and it sounds great. It sounds phenomenal. So let me turn it on. And another thing about this is that it talks, and it's touch sensitive. And that's the only volume that you get out of it. If I hook it up to like my studio system or an amplifier, it sounds a lot better. But that's basically the only volume that you get out of it. It is touch sensitive, everybody. It's only I think this is like 3 levels or 2 levels of touch sensitive. You get 128 voices, you get 128 rhythm styles on here, and this is the V-top, so it's really nice. It served me very well. It's not stand friendly. So what I mean by stand friendly is, and it's not lap friendly. So basically, the hinge is really good, but the only thing about it is that if you were to put it on a stand and play this end or this end, it flexes. So I actually put on the bottom here, I put little stuff that I got from Home Depot, like say for instance, so the keyboard won't slide away from me if I put it on a table. And I put Gorilla Tape on the hinge right over here because I just didn't trust those little screws, you know. So it served me well, still serves me well. I took this basically to California many times with me. I took it to North Carolina many times. I even took it to New York, and also I took it to New Jersey, I think it was. I took it New Jersey, New York. But 88 keys, I was so happy to get it because it was 88 keys, and I didn't want to be without an 88 key keyboard. So I still love it. I still love the design of it. I still love the feel of it. I use this for my iPad, so I really don't use the onboard sounds on it. This is mostly just a controller for my iPad. So I will bring out my iPad for the next keyboard that I'm going to show you, which I just got for my birthday. So everybody, this right here is my new traveling keyboard. And I already just opened it up as a Christmas present at my sister's house. By the way, my sister provided most of the traveling keyboards that I got. Mostly for my birthday, or if I just basically wanted it. She provided it. So thank you, sis, for all of my travel keyboards, because she knows that I love to travel on an airplane or basically just travel anywhere. So this right here is my brand new traveling keyboard. Let's open it up. So first, you get a case. Now, this case is actually the same size, like say for instance, the same width as the other case. The same, not the same length, because the length is a little bit more bigger. So let me open up the case. By the way, it comes with the case. And let me show you what's inside here first. So you got the sustain pedal. Well, actually, the other sustain pedal that I showed you, which is right over here, this is the one that actually comes with it. So I'm debating, this one's a little bit more sturdier, so I'm debating which one shall I, you know, just basically carry with me. The back of this has like a rubber padding, and this doesn't have a rubber padding right here. So this has basically little 4 dots right over here. So I'm kind of leaning back to this one again. This kind of looks like the Yamaha sustain pedal, which is really cool. I'm going to end up hooking up the sustain pedal no matter what. Okay, so after that, I added in this auxiliary cable because I'm going to need it for my iPad. So I'll put that right over here. Next, it comes with the charger. So this is basically a USB-C charging cable, which is really cool. And this I have to update. This is basically the camera connection kit. This has the old style camera connection kit, which you can't get anymore, and definitely old style. So that's going to be on my update probably this week to just have it as a single cable. And I'm going to get more than one of them. Okay, so what else do I have here? I also have, this is a plastic bag that actually has the brackets, and I will explain that as I go along. So let me just open it up just to get it prepared. And then you have these 2 little miniature telephone looking brackets, which is right here. And I just dropped one. I'm afraid to lose it, you know? So that's why I have it in in a Ziploc bag right over here. Okay, so I think that's it for the pocket. And this is the new piano. Let me take this out first. This is the stereo cable plus auxiliary right over here, just in case if I play live. But this is not going to the piano. This is actually going to go for the iPad, which is really cool. All right. It comes with a music stand. Now, with the other piano, I actually built this little contraption because remember I told you about every time I press the N on the stand, it basically bounces and flexes. So I built this little contraption that goes in between and holds that keyboard and it won't flex. And right over here, that's my music stand right over here. So it was pretty cool to build it, and I didn't want to get stopped by the security of the airport. So they looked at this, they're like, oh, this thing's pretty cool. What is that? And I had to explain exactly what it is. You know, they didn't think it was a weapon or anything. Okay, so we got the music stand. I'm going to put that aside. Take it out the case. And it comes with a manual, which is really cool. So let's put that aside. And this right here, this is the new E-Star 88 key keyboard right here, folding piano. Bring this up. I like to save all the packaging, everybody. So, and this right over here protects the little screen. And before I unfold it, let me just show you. It is a plastic body, but it's a very solid plastic body. And you have a hook right over here, right there, that actually hooks into this part right there. So once you actually unfold the keyboard, it snaps into place like this. Just like that. Very little flexing, but not as much. And remember I told you about those little telephone brackets? What I mean by telephone brackets, it looks kind of like a little small phone size right over here. That goes right over here into the middle. Just like that. And this is pretty cool because I was kind of skeptic about the keyboard being made out of plastic. So the music stand goes up here, and then I could turn it on. Now when I turn it on, there's a light that goes back and forth, which is cool. Now this keyboard has the lights on it. I like the lights. I'm gonna say that I like the lights, but I don't mind the lights. I wish the lights did a little bit more, like a teaching system. It probably does with a different kind of app on it, but I didn't mind the lights at all. So it sounds perfect. Let me turn it up. This is at full blast. Oh, before I do that, let me plug in the sustain pedal right around here. And I wish I had my seat, but at least the thing has a really nice sustain pedal. I might end up converting it because it's really nice. Okay. And this is how it sounds. And that's at full blast, everybody. Now, this has different levels of touch sensibility. I think it has like probably 6 levels. But more than the other keyboard that I had. And it feels great. The action feels phenomenal. You have 128 voices on here. I think you have 128 rhythms too on here. You have a tiny little LCD screen that tells you exactly what you're actually playing, what kind of songs, also the rhythm, the tones on there. You can play the demo. You can actually record yourself. You have a metronome, so if you wanted to do scales. I'm no good with scales. I just and if you want to stop it, you can stop it right there. You can pick your time signature. I just damaged my hand. I burnt my hand, everybody, so my playing is really not up to par. But I absolutely just love it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hook this keyboard up to my iPad and let you guys hear what it sounds like with the piano that I actually play it on. So there's a couple of apps that I'm going to demonstrate it with and just play it, and you see your opinion on how you like this keyboard. Okay, so now I have my complete setup with the iPad and my Bluetooth speaker. By the way, nothing is hooked up Bluetooth. I have everything hooked up directly because Bluetooth on a lot of Bluetooth keyboards, it kind of seems to slow it down, especially if it's like a low brand keyboard, or this I got off of Amazon, so it's mostly just a very slow connection as in Bluetooth. You get like a latency. So I have my Ravenscroft 275 piano up, and this action feels good. I have the main sound that is actually down on this keyboard, so you can actually hear the Ravenscroft. But now that's the only thing that I didn't like, and there was a test, is the music stand on that iPad. So, I mean, the music stand is a great idea, but I was hoping that it did that. So, for this kind of keyboard, I'm going to have to take a lighter iPad just to test it out, which I will test it out in this video. But I just wanted to see the strength of my playing and that music stand. So, I can still play now. So, I'm not going to play with the music stand. So that's the only thing that I dislike about this this keyboard. The rest of the keyboard is fine. The rest of the keyboard is fine. So this iPad, it does a lot. And right now I have the music stand. It has like a little back connection over here. So I'll leave this right over here. I want to try out this new app that I just installed onto the iPad, and it's called the Numa. Okay, this is called the Numa Player, and this is the brand new app that I downloaded on my iPad, and it sounds phenomenal. See, the only thing about the sustain pedal that I realize is that I have to chase it around if it's not stable. So I might have to convert it to a regular piano sustain pedal, but this is fine for right now. So when I press the sustain pedal, you get to hear the dampers lift up and down, but what a sound out of it. My favorite sound that I actually like, and if I go into it, That one is the that's the F200. This is the Steinway D. This is a 1983, and but what I absolutely love on here is the upright piano sound. And the upright piano sound has that twang. Beautiful sound it has. That's really good. So I want to match it up with the Ravenscroft and see how that is, but I absolutely just love it. One thing I love about this piano is that it's full 88 keys. It's semi-weighted, but it feels like it's fully weighted. So they did such a great job to it. I'm gonna put it back to the Ravenscroft because I like that piano a lot better. And the Ravenscroft 275. But I could play synthesizer apps on it. I could do whatever. This is basically my piano, my to-go piano everywhere I go. So if I go to Hawaii, I'm taking this with me, which is really good. It also transposed, so if I hold down the knob right over here, I could go to tempo, I could go to pitch, and I thought pitch was the tuning, but once I press it again, pitch is a transpose. So it's a transpose up and down, which is really good. So if I needed to play in a different key that I can't play in, I could transpose, which is very good. All right, again, I have to chase the sustain pedal, so that's not good. The sustain pedal, every time that I'm not looking, it flips and flops and everything like that. So I end up having to chase the sustain pedal, which is very not good. So if I do yeah, this is definitely, it feels like a weighted keyboard. It feels just like a weighted keyboard. Makes my performance a little bit better than when I was playing on the other one. It has such a great sound. So what I want to do now is I want to hook this up to my other speaker, which is a little bit better quality. And I'm not going to hook it up to my my studio system because it's a lot to power on that. And I just want to do something very simple. So now I'm going to hook it up to my little speaker right over here, which is a little microKEY speaker. Okay, so now I have things set up a little bit differently. I have the iPad connected to the microKEY speaker that I have over here, which is an SRM 150, which is a personal monitor. This little personal monitor is very, very powerful because it's a powered speaker and has EQ on it. So I don't have my Bose connected. I can turn that off. And I just wanted to actually hear it in full form of how it sounds. So I'm just going to turn the volume down to medium, and I hope it's not loud for you guys because this speaker is very, very loud. I still have to end up chasing the sustain pedal around, so I'm gonna figure out some kind of solution for that. But I just wanted to try it out, which is very good. response, the action, I have to get used to it because it is it's a little harder than a weighted action. I'm gonna be honest with you. I took a little break and I played my Yamaha disc clavier, my actual Yamaha piano, and I played this, and this is a little bit harder than the disc clavier. So if I do a boogie woogie sound, yeah, it's a little bit harder than a real acoustic piano that it's spring weighted. It's not hammer weighted, but it's a little bit harder than I think it is. So I'm gonna have to get used to it. Maybe it's because it's a little bit higher, the way how it's sitting off my my platform here. But yeah, it's a little bit harder. You know, the lights are on. I don't know if you can see it, but the lights are on, and I don't mind if the lights are on because I'm not really paying attention too much to the keyboard. I'm just paying attention to more of my balance on it. Flexibility, it stays firm, which is really good. So I have no complaints of it. I absolutely just love it. I absolutely love it. I love it way better than the other one. And it sounds phenomenal with the Ravenscroft. I mean, honestly, I didn't buy this keyboard because of the sounds. I bought this keyboard as a controller to control my other apps on here, and it sounds phenomenal. I absolutely love it. So let me try, I'm gonna exit out of this piano, and I'm gonna go into the Numa player, and I have the old upright right here, so, wow, that sounds great. And right now I'm just demonstrating piano sounds. I could demonstrate synthesizer sounds too, which I could. But I'm just doing piano sounds just to test out how this piano is. So I'm gonna play my mom's favorite song, which is Long and Lasting Love. honest with you, that's not the best of my playing right now. I hurt my hand really bad. I was doing my toy piano project and I was cutting the metal weights, which was a long metal bar. And when I was cutting it, I didn't realize, of course, the bar gets heated and it's hot and everything. So I'm cutting hot steel with the tool. And I accidentally grabbed the wrong end of the bar and burnt my hand right over here. So I'm not doing the best of my playing as much as I try to. So you gotta excuse me for that. But I love this piano. I absolutely love this piano. So I'm gonna switch to a synthesizer. And my iPad, I tell you this, I need to get a backup one because what will I do without this iPad? This iPad right here has all of my synthesizer sounds, and so I'm going to go to one of my favorite synthesizers, which is the Korg Wave Station, and I just want to hear that Guardian sound, which is a that's perfect. That is sick. I love the Korg Wave Station. I demonstrated a lot of voices on the Korg Wave Station, like the wave song, which is really cool. So if I do just those sounds alone are phenomenal. Another Korg keyboard that I really love on here, that they did such a great job with the app, is the Korg M1. So I can play that. Here's the universal sound. That is really cool. You know, it's weird because what they did now, and I know a lot of companies did this, is they raised their prices on their apps. I bought this app for only like around $15 when it first came out, and I still have it. I absolutely just love it. I own many Korg keyboards. I have the PA2X Pro. I have the Korg M3. I have so many modules. I got the Korg 05RW. I got the 01W Pro X. I got a Korg Kronos. And I love Korg. I also have the Trinity module. I got the SG module. What else do I have? The Wave Station SR. So I get a lot of sounds that are in here, which is really cool. So my favorite sound is like the piano 16, which is nice, right? Lower piano, and best of all, it has the T3 sounds. So I had a Korg T3. I had the whole T series. I had the whole O1W series, except for the O1W. I had the O1W FD. I had the O1W Pro, the Pro X, the O3RW. I didn't have the O1RW, and I did not have the O1W. Without the disk drive. But I had the whole T series, I had the whole M series, and it's pretty cool. So I could exit out of this, and if I wanted to go to something like, what I love is a toy piano. So I'm I'm building a toy piano right now. That's how I burnt my hand. I burnt my hand in 3 places. So, as I said, I'm not doing the best at playing. But I love toy pianos. I absolutely just... I have 6 of them. I have 6 toy pianos. And I absolutely just love them. You can also have organs on here. Let's see. The best organ that I like, I think it's this one right here. No, that's not the one, but it's pretty cool. Let me get to it. Let's try this one right over here. This is the one right over here. This one has a carillon that's actually into it. So I'm going to take off all of these stops. And to me, this is like the easiest one. So I have the 8-foot right here. So if I take off all the other stops, you could just hear the carillon. Take off all the principals on here. There we go. This one and this one. Whoops. There we go. So you have that, and you have a blower right over here. And it sounds like an actual blower. So if I have it at full 2D, like everything together. I'm not a church organist, but it sounds pretty cool. So watch this. When I turn off the blower, you still get that sound. And it's a long sample, which is pretty cool. So I love that. That's really neat. So there's a lot of apps that I'm still learning on here. And I can still play with, which is really neat. And that's it. So this is that keyboard that, or I should say, this is the keyboard that I wanted. This is the keyboard that I wanted, and I absolutely just love. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to compare my 2 88 fold-up keyboards together so you can see them both together. Alright everybody, this is the part that I actually have been waiting for. I don't know if you've been waiting for it, but I always wanted to try this with both of my fold-up 88 key keyboards. So, one thing I noticed about the V-Top is that the keys are not as white as the E-Star. So, they both have the same length of keys. And I put this up against my Yamaha Disclaver. It's the same length. Basically, I should say the same width, not the length. It's the same width of the keys. The V-Top has a shorter length of the keyboard, kind of like an old upright kind of style of the keyboard, or a harpsichord style. The sharps on here it's not as raised. Doesn't have any raised sharps on it. These have normal sharps on it. These are not really raised sharps, but they're a lot higher than the V-Top. The V-Top, as I can see, is that the whole casing of it is a lot wider than the E-Star. The E-Star is just like a regular keyboard. It's a lot fatter. And also the V-Top, the keys, they're more semi-weighted. So this is definitely what I call semi-weighted. This right over here, this is weighted. This is definitely weighted. This is my opinion of it. It's a lot weighted, and it doesn't have a hammer action, but it is definitely weighted. It's a spring action, but it's a lot heavier than a spring action than what you can actually feel. So it is a very weighted feel. which is really cool. I absolutely love it. This is kind of almost like a way to feel that's a little bit heavier than my Williams Legato, but it still has a strong feel on here, so I have to get used to it. As for the music desk, I give this an F. You know, if you have like sheet music that are very little, it's good. If you have your iPad on it, I would not put my iPad on it, which I did, and I demonstrated for you, so you guys don't have to. So that is an F for this keyboard. The keyboard itself is an A++ for me. As a controller, the keyboard sounds is basically, I rate it as a C. Same thing with this one. I rate this one as a C. The controller feature on here, as a keyboard, I rate this basically as more of a C. This is more of an A++ right over here. This one, you have an LCD screen, you have better speakers, you got 2 speakers on the side. This, you have these 2 little speakers right over here, but they're basically, a mouse can hear them. So it's not really speakers. It's something that you hear that you can just test out the sound. I played both of the demos on here. This one, the V-Top, has way better demos than the E-Star. But the E-Star, it's more of a good beginner's keyboard. The V-Top, it's not more of a beginner's keyboard. It's a great traveling keyboard, and both of them can fit on the bottom of the seat of the, you know, underneath your seat, on an airplane or a bus. You know, you don't have to put an overhead compartment. So I really, really like them both. Okay, so flexibility, as I was saying, flexibility down here, the V-Top gets an F. The reason the V-Top gets an F is because of this. If you put it on a stand, that's more like this, it still flex. It still have that bounce, you know? So what I had to do is I had to make this little contraption right over here, and this is actually made out of wood, but I made it really nice. I actually put stickable felt on it and felt pieces, and so what I did is I actually put this in the middle right over here, and see if I can do that. I guess, yeah, there we go, right here. And then I could put it on a stand, everybody, but it still has, I mean, I could put it on a stand, but it still has a little bit of a flex on it, which is good. The V-Top casing is actually metal, which is surprising. The casing on here is actually metal. The E-Star is actually plastic, but a very, very strong plastic. So, there's some good and bads about both of them that you have to actually compare. Now, as I said again, this has such a better action, a way better action. Very, very, very beautiful action. You're gonna wonder about this. There's a little slit right over here. The key is actually a full key, but this is to make it when it folds up. This one over here, I think they both fold up at the same creasing. So, yes, they both fold up at the same creasing. So if I take this off, the E-Star comes with this little bracket. So not only that it locks in the back, but it comes with this little bracket. That is actually, in my grade book, that is going to be a, I say a D. A D on there because of this, you know. This, as in the locking system, that's an A+. That's an A+ with the locking system. With this little bracket, they could do something a little bit better for this bracket, because people will lose this. This actually comes with 2 of them, so people will lose this. I don't know if you can actually still get these, like if you accidentally lose one, if you could get one off of like eBay, or not eBay, if you could get one from the company. They're both made in China. So they're both basically made in China. So I give credit to basically Chinese-made instruments, because they want everybody to play the piano. And so they find out many different ways how you can afford a piano and how you can play the piano. So I give them both A pluses for both of these models, as in the design of it. I like the design of the E-Star a lot better. Now, V-Top and E-Star, you can actually find them. E-Star, this is made from a different company, but the V-Tar is made by Konix. It's a company called Konix, and if you look them up, it's Konix. If you look them up, they have many, many different keyboards in this line that are really, really good. They even have an upgraded version of this one with these kind of keys, and sounds really good, you know. As in controllers, as I said, as in controllers, I give this one a C. I give this one an A plus. I give this one an A plus. The pedals. Now, both of them have pedals, and this is the V-Top pedal right over here. And this one over here, this one is the E-Star pedal. So the E-Star pedal, I just tried out, and it flip flop all over the place. The V-Top pedal doesn't do that much flip flopping because the way how it's designed. So I could just take this one, and it'll flop just like that. I don't know if you saw that, but I could try it again. Just take it, and it'll just kick up and flop, just like that. The E-Star, this does it a little bit, but not as much. So it still stays upright. I'm sorry, this is the V-Top. This is the V-Top, and this one is the E-Star. I'm sorry, got them confused. So I give the V-Top pedal a B. I give the E-Star pedal a D. Now the chargers are the same, but the only thing about the chargers on, say for instance the V-Top, this is a USB. I think this is a USB-C cable. No, this is a USB-C cable right over here. This one's a USB-B cable. So with the USB-B cable, it's still universal. You could get those anywhere. If you lose it, you can even find one at a thrift store, at a pawn shop, or whatever. So that's really good. Only thing about a USB-B cable is that they break a lot. They break a lot. The USB-C cable, I'm just experimenting on them. One thing I like about it is that no matter which way you go, up or down, you could just put it in, charge it. Battery life. Both of them have battery life of over 4 hours. So once you charge it, you could perform out with 4 hours on both of these, which is very good. I tested this one out, and I think I did a little bit over 4 hours, but it still played. So I know this one could still play. So that's basically it. This both of these are such good fold-up keyboards. Now I'm going to fold them both up and show you the distance of both of them. So this one folds up like this, and this one has a lever, which I love. It clicks. It's more sturdy. And look at that. The V-Top is a lot longer than the E-Star. So this one gets another A+. The V-Top is a little bit longer. So you know what? I'm going to go easy on it. I'm going to give this one a B, as in the length of it and everything. Now, as I said, this one's made by Konix. This one's made by another company, which I got to find out. But this one comes in many different names and different brands and everything. You can get this in white. You can get this in black. You can get it with the lighted keys, without the lighted keys. And that's it. But all the controls on this one are the same. And same thing with the V-Top. If you get a Konix or any other company that looks like this, they're all the same. So, everybody, that is my review on both of these pianos. and you guys could choose the price. Oh, by the way, I forgot to talk about price range. This one was basically the same exact price range as this one. So I got them both for at least $299 and stuff like that. I think $249. I'm sorry, $249. So both of them are the same price range, and I got them both at Amazon. So, well, I didn't get them both. My sister did. This one was actually for... I forgot when I got this one, but it was before I was going on a trip, and I asked her for this one. And then this one was for my birthday. And so right now, my all bets, or I should say my all choices, I should say, is on the E-Star. So just wanted to show you both of those keyboards. I know this was a long video. Please do me a favor, click like, subscribe, follow me on everything. And if you want any more information about these two keyboards, you're welcome to actually put into your, or I should say, you know, write about it and I could see it. And I could tell you more about them. But I am definitely going to be playing out with this one a lot more when I go out, like when I go out of town or on long trips. And I could take this one on an airplane and it could still fit underneath my seat. And I can actually have more room, even though it's still bulky, but it can still fit underneath my seat. Thank you so much, everybody. Choose wisely if you're going to actually shop for these, and take my advice. If you want, go for the E-Star, or you know, there's other comparisons on this on other videos. Thank you so much, everybody. I'll see ya. Bye-bye.